Hi guys, I'm back again. I'm talking today congratulating on the American Independence Day and celebrating the European American Alliance. These days, everything is a bit shaky, and with Corona and the situation globally with the economic crisis, a lot of people are insecure in the future. But this alliance is the rock, the pillar of the Western success in the last 70 years. And it's good to say thank you for the US for rebuilding Europe, securing Europe, and securing it ever since the Second World War, and obviously winning in the Second World War, defeating the Nazis in the Second World War, but also defeating the Soviet Union in the Cold War, in the first Cold War, as I like to call it, and also in the Second Cold War, now securing free Ukraine and also all of Europe under the aggression of hostile Russia. So that's something to celebrate, and the 4th of July is now, I counted, 244 years of this great republic of the United States of America, and I think it's a reason to celebrate very much for all Europeans. Yeah? We should definitely also have a EU Day where we all say collectively thank you very much to the United States of America for its contribution for European security, for European peace, for European stability, and for European prosperity. Prosperity obviously could be even higher if we finally manage to conclude a free trade agreement, which to my absolute surprise we have with really many countries, and now the German presidency has made clear that they will also lead the way very strongly forwards towards the Indonesian agreement. Mercosur will be adopted. There will be a really big progress under the German presidency, but still with the Americans, we unfortunately still today we don't have a free trade agreement. Yeah? We have it with Canada after a lot of difficulties. We have it with Mexico, it's in the process, and so we really have achieved a lot, and I want to also to thank President Juncker. He was really driving this process very much forward. But situation with America was complicated in the last 4 years. Some of you will have followed that even the president of the center-right of Europe, the APP, President Donald Tusk, the former council president and a hero of Polish freedom and really a fantastic personality in many aspects, he has openly called for the Democratic contender to win, because we in Europe, we cannot be happy, and we were never with President Trump's failure to conclude a free trade agreement with our side, and also many other politics, obviously. And now, obviously, there is a little bit of insecurity, which definitely the enemies of the West will try to exploit again. They see this weakness in the corona public health crisis and presume that there is an opening. But be sure, this challenge which we see since 2014 from Ukraine, from Syria, Georgia, everywhere, there is this massive intervention of Russia into our Western political systems, and also these 4 wars that Russia leads from Georgia, Ukraine, Crimea, Syria, Libya. You see very much there is this massive intervention. But the only reaction can be is more unity. More unity between the EU and the United States of America. And this we have to celebrate every 4th of July, this friendship, this partnership, this kind of very strong, long-term, stable security, prosperity partnership for both sides of the Atlantic, which basically is the 2 pillars of the Western world. It's the United States of America, obviously with our friends Canada and Mexico included, but mainly, of course, the biggest nation, the United States, and also in Europe, our friends from the UK, from EFTA, from CEFTA, but mainly, obviously, the European Union. These are the 2 main pillars of the Western world. And to celebrate this friendship, to deepen it, that's the big task. And obviously what we have to achieve now with hopefully President Biden, we will achieve the free trade agreement in the first stage, not maybe the most complicated minor issues in agriculture to focus on them, but focus on most of the trade aspects. And then in the second stage, we have time in the 2020s to conclude a real common market between the US and the EU. That means really free movement of capital, free movement of people. Yes, I say free movement of people. that we have now these travel restrictions for Americans in Europe is very unfortunate. Yeah? We should have the possibility, maybe not as completely an internal market like we have it in the EU, but at least, when you have a confirmed work contract and you want to work in the United States for some years, get a visa and work there, and not a complicated process, but basically make it very simple for Europeans to work and travel and live for some time in the US, and make it very simple for Americans to do the same in the European Union. We are not so different. And let capital, let people, let goods and services circulate freely, including California, Hawaii, and Ukraine and Georgia, and all the future members of the European Union of 37. This is, I think, the vision for the next 10 years. Obviously, there will be a lot of resistance from the US side, from the EU side. There is protectionism everywhere, and there is isolationism, and there's always people who want to stop everything and keep everything like it was always, and not understand and not let freedom be the central element, but stopping borders. All these people have at the moment quite a good time. They celebrate this kind of restrictions, but what we really need is to celebrate freedom and to make sure that we have this common project for all of us. It's, I think, a powerful vision to build a common market of the Western world, the common market of NATO, and not just to have a FTA, a normal free trade agreement between the US and the EU, but to have a common market between the United States of America and the European Union, and to take this now in the first stage with an FTA, and in the second stage to make sure that people, goods, capitals, ideas, everybody can travel freely between the two pillars of the Western world. And that's my wish for the 4th of July in 2020, despite the current difficulties. And I wish everybody health and security in these very complicated times. But most of important, we have to keep the fundamental trust of this important alliance and deepen it by enlarging NATO, by making sure it's even more efficient, but also that we make sure that we have goods, people, and services free and capital freely floating on both sides of the Atlantic, and build a common market by 2030. We should be ready with that, and that will be the big economic and political and strategic project of this decade, to build this common market, to bring Ukraine and the Balkans in the EU and in NATO, and make sure that we have the 4th of July 2030 as an even much stronger Western world, to be able to be an anchor of stability for everybody. And that's, I think, a key to peace in the world, is the stability and prosperity zone which NATO and the EU and the US have created. And this we have to deepen, we have to enlarge, we have to stabilize, but we have also to intensify our cooperation with our friends and partners. And in that sense, I wish a very good 4th of July tomorrow to our old friends from the United States, and everybody in Europe, to celebrate with our American friends this important day in their history, and to deepen our alliance together. Thanks a lot, and happy 4th of July.